Hello, Top Fan Rivalry friends. It is your boy Bill. It is Jackson, which can only mean one thing, ladies and gentlemen. That means it is time for the weekly review. Hey, Jackson, how the
So
heck are
rude.
you?
Doing all right, doing all right. Had a really rainy week up here in Pennsylvania. It's still raining.
So, still raining a bit, huh?
Yeah.
There you go. There you go. So, I love it. There's been a lot of baseball going on. There's a lot of things happening, a lot of moving parts. So, start me off with your number one, please.
I'm going to talk about the American League leader in home runs, Bill.
Go
Do you
ahead.
know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, he plays in the American League.
I'm going to talk about Tyler Soderstrom
Yeah,
of the Athletics. He hit a six home run the other night. He is tied with Aaron Judge for the Major League lead in home runs, the American League lead in home runs, all the leagues home runs. He's off to a good start. He's hitting 354. He's got 17 hits already. He's got those six home runs. I think he's going to be a really important player for the A's going forward. With this kind of rebuild they did, they're really hoping that guys like Soderstrom, Jacob Wilson, Lawrence Butler can take the next step. And if they can do that with Brent Rooker, the A's can be dangerous. I
he's
called
gonna
it
be
before. I
really
called it before the
dangerous.
season started. This team has really low expectations. They have some pretty good players, and if Tyler Soderstrom is an all-star level first baseman at any point this season, the A's are a playoff team because I will get to the AL West later. But uh, I,
Yeah,
I
A's
think
are a
the
playoff team.
hey, why don't you go take a peek at the standings and let me know how the AL West is looking? I know it's a small sample size, but
He says, "Hey."
hey. But
Um,
yeah, I thought I'd shout out Tyler Soderstrom for his hot start.
okay, that's actually a good shout out. I mean, he's definitely starting out good. I mean, but he's also playing in that minor league ballpark too, so it's a
Yeah,
little
but
different.
he's gonna be playing in it all season. I was talking about for this season, and they'll be playing there next year too. So, I mean, use what you got with you, man. If you're playing in the minor league ballpark, hit those dingers, get paid. Let's
Mhm.
go.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have an issue with I don't have an issue with it. I want it's good for baseball when the A's are a lot better than what they've been. Right? It's not good when they're that bad all the time. So yeah, I'm I can see where you're going with this.
Yeah, but I
This
just want to shout out Tyler Soderstrom, who I think a lot of people don't really. I know everyone on this side of the Mississippi doesn't really watch West Coast baseball, and I understand why. It starts at 10 o'clock p.m. and that kind of sucks. But now Tyler Soderstrom is the co-league leader in home runs.
there you go. There you go. Okay, so this one might shock you where I'm going to go with this next. I bet you're just dying to know, aren't you, Jackson? Dying to know.
I am dying.
96 runs scored in 15 innings. Who am I talking about?
96 runs scored in 15 innings. Oof, I don't know.
Who do you think it might be with the lineups that are out there right now?
15 innings or 15 games?
15 games.
Okay, I was like 15 innings,
Oh, I'm
96
sorry,
runs.
my bad. Yeah. 15 games. They're averaging 6.4 runs a game if you just divide it out, simple math. Okay. Um, who do you think I'm talking about?
Probably the Bronx Bombers, the Yankees. They've
You
been
would think
scoring.
that. Strike one. You want to go for one more time?
Uh, I have a sneaky feeling it's the Angels.
No, sir. No,
No,
sir.
no, they're not
It,
that prolific yet.
how about the North Side boys?
Oh, the Cubs. That was my third
Yeah,
guess.
the Cubs are 9-6. In 15 games, they've scored 96 runs. Now they struggled in Tokyo, so we don't need to give that to them as a sample size, but that was amazing. Um, every time I look at this, 6.4 runs on average a game. Remember, they've had one game where they scored seven, one game where they scored 10, and one game where they scored 18.
18. Yeah.
So that's going to blow that out a little bit, but how far?
But yeah, even if you remove that, they're still averaging probably around or over 4 runs a game, which is pretty darn good. It's probably
Yeah,
right where about where you want to be. Um, yeah, I think Kyle Tucker's really kind of help elevate that lineup. Seiya Suzuki looks healthy and he's hitting.
yeah,
I think he fits really well, but with Kyle Tucker in that lineup, the righty lefty, combo to punish the other handedness of pitcher. So I agree with you. The Cubs look good early. The lineup
they
looks
do.
good.
They do look good early. It's surprise. I mean, I don't know if you know this or not, but and I'm going to mention him in another set of circumstances here shortly. But when you're looking at hits in all of MLB, Kyle Tucker has 19. So that boy did well in that trade so far. So
Yeah. I mean, if the Cubs can make a deep playoff run, the trade's absolutely worth it. But you know, it, I think if we want to talk about the Cubs, their bullpen is a bit of a worry. It's been prone to blow up this season.
a
It's
bit
been
of a
prone to
worry.
blow up the last couple of seasons. That's probably an understatement. The bullpen's a big worry. Even they traded for Ryan Presley. He hasn't been that great. He's been really kind of Jekyll and Hyde. So the Cubs really need to find some sort of consistency with their bullpen pitching to really kind of push themselves. It's a very crowded NL as far as teams go. I think the NL playoffs is going to be infinitely more interesting than the AL playoffs. Uh,
Probably,
Probably.
probably. You're probably not lying there.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, yeah,
Yeah. But
yeah.
I agree with you. Lineup looks hot. I think the Kyle Tucker trade was a nice move for a team that was looking to go all in. We talk about all in moves. Getting Kyle
Yep.
Tucker's an all in move.
All in move. Exactly. Exactly. All right, what you got for number two?
My number two, I will stay in the AL West. I'll talk about a team that was scoring a lot. The Angels. They're off to their best franchise start ever, which is weird to me. Um, they've looked pretty good. They're playing nice team baseball. Kyron Paris has been a surprise to say the least around the MLB. He's tearing the cover off the ball. Mike Trout's still there. I think just top to bottom, the Angels feel like they have depth. The bullpen's been good. Kenley Jansen's out there, you know, doing his thing. He got his 450th save, which makes him the fourth pitcher to do it all time, I believe. So, future Hall of Famer right there. I know Kenley's been flipping teams every year for the past couple of years, but still a Hall of Fame pitcher. Relievers tend to do that. It's no big deal, but I think the Angels are coached with an experienced coaching staff. I think they have some really nice veteran players and a nice young core that, you know, again, I talked about the AL West. I'm not really impressed with anyone in the AL West to start. Texas has been the top dog so far, but I really think any one of those five teams could win that division. I could see it.
Okay.
If you were a time traveler and you came to me and said, "Hey, the Mariners won the AL West in 2025," I'd probably shrug my shoulder and go, I'd buy it." Or or the Rangers, or the Astros, or the A's, or the Angels. I wouldn't be like, "Oh, no, that wouldn't happen in 100 years." I'd be like, "No, I could buy it."
Fair enough. Fair enough. I don't know. Jackson, now you got me in a quandary because I just don't think Seattle's that good this year. Um, and I don't think Oakland's that good.
I know, but I just think with how inconsistent the AL West has been, and every team seems to have an equally glaring problem in
Fair
my mind.
enough. That's
You
fair
know,
enough. I mean, I
I can see a world where Seattle gets its pitching healthy and just doesn't give up any runs and kind of just like squeaks into the postseason, winning the AL West. I can see it.
okay. Okay. All
I can
right.
see
Fair
the
enough.
I can see the A's slugging their way to an AL West title. It's
Fair enough.
possible. Wild West.
Wild Wild West. Um, Okay, you're gonna you're gonna I'm curious to see your opinion here on this. I'm gonna stay in
All right.
Chicago for
All
number
right.
two. Okay. The White Sox are 2-10. They've scored 35 runs compared to the Cubs 96, right? They have a plus minus differential of minus 12, which is actually not as bad as you would think with scoring that little runs. But here's here's the thing that I think is interesting. Can I just tell you what I think is interesting about this, Jackson?
What?
Not even competitive. They're not even like if you watch some of their games, they are very, I mean, they're getting picked off. They're missing cutoff men. Like it's not a competitive game. And I talked to a Detroit Tigers fan, and they had said straight out, they said, Bill, I feel bad. Like I feel like I'm watching a minor league team. And and it's starting to prove it. Like now, the first 5 games of the season, they're like, oh, 2-3. They could have beat the Angels. They only lost 1-0. So on and so forth. But now they're getting outscored, and they've lost 8 in a row. So talk to me about the Cubbies. I mean
Uh,
the White Sox. I'm
the
sorry.
White Sox. I think the White Sox product on the field is a reflection of their ownership, which is disinterested.
That's
And I think the players feel like ownership doesn't care about the team. They certainly, ownership doesn't even try to pretend like they're building a good product. They're perfectly content with running the lowest payroll in baseball out there in Chicago and crying, "Oh, woe is us. We're the lowly White Sox." It's disgraceful. I've seen, it's sad because the White Sox are a historic franchise. I believe they celebrate their 125th anniversary this year.
hmm,
And I've seen the leak for their City Connect jerseys. I don't know if it's true, but if it looks like a Chicago Bulls jersey, it's dumb because the White Sox have a much more storied history than the Chicago Bulls in the city of Chicago. Um, but yeah, the White Sox, I don't know. They're to me, it's a disinterested team. They have a really good farm system, so maybe they'll be good in a couple of years. But to me, it just feels like ownership is just kind of mailing it in, and
yeah,
it's like the kid who does the bare minimum on the group project and gets the
yeah,
lowest grade because everyone's like, "Yeah, he didn't do anything," and
yeah.
then that all offended. That's how it feels to me.
Uh, I think you're somewhat right on that. I mean, it just it. I've watched some of these games because obviously now for me with Top Fan, I don't equate the team with the city. I equate it with the fans, right? When I'm talking about the White Sox, I'm talking about 4 or 5 guys that I've interviewed that are just studs, right?
Yeah,
And so I equate it with that. I don't equate it with the other things. And I'm not gonna lie to you, man, that it's got to be tough. You're 12 games in the season. You've already got 10 losses. There doesn't seem to be a lot of end in sight. Could you break your record from last season?
I mean, if you were a fan, that might be something you root for at this point, huh?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I don't know what you do at this point. I mean it.
You need ownership to, you know, take charge and act like the owners of a professional friend. It's embarrassing. If I owned the White Sox, I'd be embarrassed about the product they put out on the field because, you should take pride in what's yours.
What's
And
yours?
the city of Chicago takes pride in what's good. The Cubs never have problems, selling out when they're bad because ownership has tried in the past. I'm
Yeah.
convinced the Cubs were cursed for 100 years.
Yeah.
The White Sox might be cursed because they lost the game the other night where their guy injured himself rounding third base instead of scoring the game winning run. But to me, it just, we just need to be better as
It
ownership.
would be a lot better.
Yeah.
Be a
I
lot
mean,
better.
this can bleed over. This wasn't going to be my number three, but I kind of want to rant about it now. Uh,
Run your number three. Let's do it.
uh, the Pittsburgh Pirates, a team that we all thought would be a lot better. They're not off to a great start this season. They certainly don't look like the team we think they are. Um, And you want to talk about bad ownership groups? The Pirates owner getting booed walking around the stadium at the home opener is funny to me. But yeah, they removed the Roberto Clemente logo in right field, and that pretty much sums up the disconnect between the upper echelons of the organization, the Pittsburgh Pirates. It feels like the Pirates have no soul. The White Sox feel like disinterested. The Pirates feel like they have no soul, no fight in them, other than Paul Skeens. The Pirates should be a lot better than they are,
Yeah,
especially in a weak NL Central that we said time and time again. You might only need to win 90 games to win the NL Central every year.
mhm. Which is interesting because the Pirates are only 5-8. True, they have a plus minus differential that is bad. It's
It's
negative
not
19.
it's not great.
No, it's not great, but they're only 5-8. And so uh you go on a you go on a tear where you win 10 out of 13 and all this changes, right? And as you know in baseball, everything's really, really streaky. And
Yeah,
so, but I get what you're saying. I trust me, I get it.
yeah,
But
yeah. I don't expect the Pirates to go on that tear you talk about though. It because under again, we see year in year out with the bad teams, ownership cuts corners on depth. Those are they don't want to sign the utility player for 5 million. Instead, they get the guy on the non-major league roster invite. And that's what ends up being the depth. And it's not good quality baseball, and it's not fair to your team, your fans, because it just kind of feels like the vibe from the Pirate fan base is it's just another year of Pirates baseball.
yeah. The sucky part about this, Jackson, is there are some teams that, like you say, Pirates. You saw what Miami tried to do, and this is not my number three, but you saw what
Yeah,
Miami tried to do by hiring people for a practice squad.
yeah,
Okay,
it's a joke.
how bad are you when you're trying to hire community members for a practice squad? I honestly don't think the Pirates are going to stay this bad. I don't think they're going to stay this bad, Jackson. What I do think though is that they need to be they need to be better. Um, but 5-8 start is not terrible for them. Now, if they were 3-10, maybe even 4-9, I might say 3 games under 500 though.
Yeah,
Although the Reds, you can say the same thing about the Reds, but I'll talk about them later.
the Reds are a different team, which is just it. The Reds are the anti-Reds this year. That's all I'm gonna say.
Anti-Reds this year. Um, okay, Jackson, are you ready for my number three?
I am.
Okay. I had the pleasure of watching the Dodgers play this week in Washington. And when I say the pleasure, the Dodgers obviously lost 2 out of 3. They need to get out of the East Coast. But I gotta tell you, man, that team is a lot more scrappy than they look. They're 5-7. I know they play in your division, but they're 5-7. James Wood is a specimen. Don't tell me that he's not. Dylan Cruz is picking it up. Call is picking it up. Uh, Mackenzie Gore is picking it up. I'm currently trying to lure somebody on the Top Fan Rivalry fantasy group to trade me Mackenzie Gore because I like his style of pitching.
That person may or may not be present.
Um, I'll have I'll have my people call this person's people. But yeah, that is a young, scrappy group. And they are going to do a lot better than some people think. A lot
Yeah,
better. Tell me I'm wrong, Jackson.
we've talked about the Nationals a lot. Thomas and I have talked about the Nationals a lot too. This is a team that I really don't want to see on the schedule. Um, like you said, scrappy, good young players. They have some really nice young pitchers too. Uh, that you wouldn't expect them to have from a rebuilding team. I think the Nationals' only weakness is probably their bullpen has not been very good. But I think on any given night, they're out there to compete. They're they're in this latter stage of the rebuild phase where it's what, like they're going to be like they're going to surprise some people next year, and I wouldn't be surprised to see them in the fringes of the playoff race this year, and then hanging in the wild card next year. I agree with you. The Nationals have a good lineup.
Nationals have a very good lineup, and they're a lot better than people think. And it's fun to watch them because there is literally no expectations. Everybody's looking at the Braves, or looking at the Mets, or looking at the Phillies. There is no expectation in this,
Nope.
and so they're playing very well. I mean, they went out and they told the Dodgers, "Hold my Gatorade. We're going to take 2 out of 3 from you guys," and they played them very well. They pitched against them very well. The Dodgers ran themselves out of some innings, but they're a good group.
Yeah. I think a big thing to watch with the Nationals, they're really good speed, really good defense. I think they're going to be the prototypical MLB team looking forward. They don't have a lot of guys that will, slug 30, 35 home runs, but they will double you to death. They
Mhm.
will steal in key situ. They execute sacrifice bunts really well. Situational hitting is really good in Washington. So I think this is the team of, you know, you want to look at what a team's going to look like, in 5, 10 years. That's going to be one of the best teams in the MLB. It's going to be a team like the Nationals that can field every position, hit it, hit doubles at every position and steal a ton of bases. The
Still a ton of
manufacturer.
bases. Yep. Yep. Okay, so Jackson, here we go. Um, uh, Before we get started into your number 4, we got to mention something that's a lot of fun that Top 10 Rivalries beginning to do. We started doing a lot of box breaks with Mike over at Heads Up Sports in Boston. We do those every other week with him, every other Monday. In the weeks that we don't do Heads Up Sports Cards breaks, we do box breaks that are called the 27 Outs Club. For $27 a month, you can secure your team. Period. Nobody else can have your team in that box break. You get a $5 off coupon every month. And in addition to that $5 off coupon, you get early access the to the box 24 hours before it gets released to the general public, and 24 hours before the release of the Heads Up Sports Cards Top 10 Rivalry box break goes live. It's absolutely freaking amazing. Absolutely love it. It's a way for people to save money. It's a way for people not to have to. Hey, Jackson, if you were a card collector and you really want Braves, you don't want to spend 180 bucks, 200 bucks, 300 bucks on a box
Whoa.
because there might be a lot of players in there that you don't care about. You care about the team. So it's real simple to do, right?
Yeah. You get what you want, you know? You
Yes.
want to collect only your team. It's really easy.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. So 27 Ounce Club is what we're doing now. If you want to join the club, you can join the club at topfanrivalry.com. You go to the team store. But the first time that you join the club, Jackson, the first time, it's a monthly subscription. You can cancel at any time. So this wouldn't apply every month. But the first time you join the club, you need to use what code to get yourself a discount?
Code Jackson, get 10% off.
Code Jackson, get 10% off. That's right. That's right. So Jackson, let's get on into number 4.
All right. I'm I'm going to play your game tonight. I'm going to read you two stat lines,
Let's
uh,
go.
and I want you to guess who they
Okay.
are. So
Mhm.
I got my handy dandy baseball reference here. Hold on. It's refreshing because I clicked on it. All right. So last year, we'll do the career stats because I think this is going to really accent what we're dealing with here. All right.
Okay.
Player
Bring it.
one has a career WAR of 20.6,
Okay.
229 career home runs, 601 RBIs, and a career OPS of 857. Debuted in 2019. Player two also debuted in 2019, has a 21.7 WAR, 160 home runs, and an 861 OPS.
Okay.
They both play first base.
Mhm.
One of them couldn't get a contract this offseason. The other one just got a $500 million extension bill.
You're talking about Anthony Rizzo, Vladimir Guerrero.
I'm talking about Pete Alonso and Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Oh, Alonso did get a contract.
He struggled to get a contract, though. It was kind of like the Mets were like, I guess I'll sign Pete Alonso again at the end of the.
Oh, that's
To be
true.
so we're going to talk about this Vlad Jr. contract.
Okay.
Uh, Obviously, really good player. I know he's 26, but 14 years, $500 million for a first baseman, not great, man.
Mm-mm.
Uh, especially since Pete Alonso got what, a 1 year, $25 million contract or something like that.
So, so here's the thing about these long-term contracts that I don't like.
I know what I'm saying is you can fill that production pretty easily. It's Pete Alonso's a good player. Don't get me wrong, but like there's a lot of guys that have Pete Alonso's skill set, which is a power hitting guy that can play first base.
Well, here's the thing I don't like about these long-term contracts. Vladimir Guerrero's contract is a perfect example of this, right, Jackson? So I'm gonna pull something up. Um, Vladimir Guerrero is a perfect, perfect, perfect example. Okay. Now, he's got 920 hits. Uh, does he have a shot for 2,500 hits?
Maybe.
Probably, maybe. The He's 26 years old, so if he plays another, this is season 7 for him. So if without injuries or minimal injuries, he plays another 10 full seasons, even if he gets 150 hits, which that would be a little bit down from him. Last year he had 199, but if he averages 150 hits, it's 1,500 hits. He comes close to 2,500 hits. He won't get 3,000 hits. But here's what I don't like about this contract, Jackson. The man's 26 right now. You're going to assume that he's playing till age 40. Uh, by about age 35-ish or so, in 9 or so years, fans are going to start to turn on him because his production is going to go down. I'm looking at his stats. 2021, 188 hits, 175. 2023, he went down a bit, 159. 2024, 199. So we're just going to call a spade, and we'll call that 170 on average, right? That's not going to be the case when he's 36 years old, 37 years old. He'll be a full time. I don't like these long-term contracts.
I don't either. I thought they structured it really well. Uh, it being a signing bonus at the beginning of every year. It guarantees the player money, but it also kind of alleviates that financial burden. But yeah, to me, it's baffling that anyone would want to pay a first baseman anywhere near this much. I remember, a decade ago, we were freaking out when $300 million was handed out
Hmm.
to guys who played a lot more valuable positions. I remember when Mike Trout got his extension, everyone's like, it's going to be good. And Trout spent the next couple of years hurt. He looks healthy, this year. Hopefully he stays healthy going forward. But with these big, 10 plus year contracts, you really run in the risk of, you know, a guy blowing a knee out or blowing a shoulder out and it backfiring really quick.
Yeah,
You get the Anthony Rendon effect. Not to beat up on the Angels for that one, because how are they going to know? Rendon was like the best third baseman in baseball for the 5 previous years. He fell off a
yeah.
cliff. I don't expect Guerrero to do that, but it's a lot of money to a first baseman.
Mhm.
I know Toronto's looking for a face of the franchise type of guy, a guy that will play every day, that can be their star that they can market. But to me, this isn't a player you build your team around.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I mean, I I don't.
I,
You're,
I'm a big believer in building your team up the middle.
yeah. Okay.
Catcher, pitcher, shortstop, center field should be your most valuable players.
That's why I'm hesitant because you're looking at it from a position standpoint, and which is good. Which is I don't disagree with that, but the man draws fans in. The man can hit. So it's one of those things where what do you do, right?
Yeah,
Um, you build you what you have to do is you have to keep guys around him that can hit as well. Because if you don't keep guys around him that can hit as well, then
yeah.
then again, people start walking him, right? People
The,
start
the true
walking.
the true Mike Trout experience.
Yeah, the two might drive. Okay, Jackson, you're gonna get a kick out of my number 4 because I'm gonna
All
I'm
right,
gonna do some stats with you,
all
right?
right.
The top fan stats guy. Okay, so I'm not. I was always a big fan of win-loss records. Always was. until recently, until all these guys don't pitch. Some of them pitch the some of them don't pitch the full season. I mean a full game, right? The and so I just yeah. So here's the stat. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
Logan Gilbert is leading the
Yep.
MLB with 25 strikeouts. He's
Yep.
pitched 17.2 innings. Um, he, yeah, I mean, he's 27 years old. Um, and yeah, he's got an ERA of 2.55, yet last season he was 9 and 12.
Yep.
It's going to be, eh, how do I say this? He is, he plays for a team where the win-loss record is very unindicative of how well he's pitching. Because he's 25 strikeouts. He started 3 games. He's pitched 17 innings, 25 strikeouts inside of 17.2 or two-thirds of an inning means he's averaging about 1.3 strikeouts per inning. Not bad.
It's pretty good. I'm a big Logan Gilbert fan. And I agree with you. I think gone are the days of, you know, praising the 20 game winner. It is a team achievement wins. I think MLB needs to reevaluate how they hand out the win stat. Personally, I just think it's weird that relievers get the win. I know it's just leaving with the lead, and that's the easiest way to score it. But you throw 6 innings of shutout baseball, and your team doesn't score till the ninth inning. It's like, how do you not get the win
Yeah.
because you contributed the most? Um, but yeah, I agree with you. I think Gilbert's off to another hot start. I think Gilbert's going to be the next pitcher that gets paid a
Yeah.
lot of money.
Yeah. No, he's as long as he stays healthy. And when you look at his statistics over, I mean, last season he pitched 208.2 innings, had 220 strikeouts, a whip of 0.89, an ERA of 3.23, and he was 9 and 12.
Yeah, it, it's also, you want to talk stats. ERA is a good benchmark of results. It's not a good indicator of future success. Uh, the 3.23 ERA is probably a lot higher than it should have been. His defense probably let him down a bit in some key situations. Maybe handed out some extra base runners. And when we look at these stats, sometimes it's crazy to watch, teams pay these guys. You're like, what are they doing? But, they know a lot better than us. A good example would be a guy like Zach Wheeler, who, you look at the service numbers, looked really mediocre, had flashes with the Mets. Numbers look really mediocre. And on the Phillies, he's been one of the best pitchers in baseball. And
Well,
it's
and when a guy can pitch for you 200 plus innings, that's saying something. I mean, Zach Wheeler, again,
worth,
another example,
yeah, worth
200
every
innings.
dollar. Worth
Yeah,
every dollar when they get 200 innings. And
yeah,
today's baseball is elite. I don't care if it's 200 innings of 4 ERA. If you throw 200 innings, you're a horseman.
yeah. You're throwing hard. You're throwing hard. You're throwing well. So, yeah, 100%. Okay, Jackson, let's get to your number five before we talk a little bit 27 ounce again, and let's get to my number five, and we got to wrap up the show.
All
So
right.
let's do it.
Yeah.
What's your number five?
My number five is, how about the start to this season? Jung Ho Lee had a bad season-ending injury last year with his shoulder. A lot of people were, calling into question over the offseason whether the Giants should have spent the money. He's off to a hot start, Bill. He's looking like the guy that they wanted to sign out of Korea. He's got 7 doubles already, 15 hits. He's looking like that. I'm talking about building up the middle, the center fielder that San Francisco Giants need to be successful. I think he's a really big part of why they started off so well. He's got 3 stolen bases as well. He doesn't need to go out there and hit 30 home runs out in San Francisco. If you know how that ballpark plays, all you got to do is hit it to the gap. The 7 doubles and the triple are enough to produce runs. It's all about getting yourself in the scoring position out there. And extra base hits to the alley are the perfect way to do that in San Francisco. So I think, Jung Ho Lee is a guy to watch going forward, because he's off to that hot start. I think we're going to see, one of the best players to come out of Korea ever really kind of show off why he was so highly coveted, you know, coming over last year.
Okay. Okay. I like that. I like that. Yeah, let's see how it plays itself out, right?
Like I said, he's not going to slug a ton of home runs, but I think he's a park like San Francisco is perfect for him. The alleys allow you just with his speed, just to extra base hit people to death without needing to launch the ball, 450 feet.
True. 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 Okay, Jackson, this one's going to be fun for you. Hey, you ready?
Yes, sir.
Hot starts. Hot starts. Talking about Jung-Hoo Lee. Let's talk about hot starts.
All
Okay.
right.
Alex Bregman, Kyle Tucker, Carlos Correa, George Springer, Jose Altuve. Man, can you imagine if they ever played on the same team together?
Yeah, that team must have won like 5 World Series. Am I right?
It,
Oh no, oh no. No, I'm just kidding. They won a couple.
yeah,
Probably, that's probably good enough in today's baseball. A couple's probably pretty good.
if you are literally though, if you are an Astros fan, you got to be shaking your head going, Kyle Tucker's leading the major leagues with hits. George Springer's tearing the cover off the ball. Alex Bregman is like leading the team in Boston. Carlos Correa is doing Carlos Correa things, and yeah,
Yeah. The Astros are an interesting team to me. Um, they've chosen to only retain one guy, which is an interesting strategy. We see teams that, stay together for a long time and win a lot, and they keep everyone. It's a really bad idea as they age. Uh, I think this is the year that the Astros finally take a step back. I think they let one guy too many go. You know, the Kyle Tucker trade for me was probably it's a good chunk off. I know they played really well without him last year, but having a guy like Kyle Tucker in your lineup to protect a bat like Yordan Alvarez is really important,
uh-huh.
especially in today's baseball. You were talking about walking guys to get around them. There's a guy you want to walk anytime first base is open.
Yeah, yeah, 100%,
You, you do
100%.
you do not want to pitch to Yordan Alvarez. I've seen him hit baseballs on the outside corner 500 feet to right field. But you know, to your point, they're all off to hot starts. We'll see if they stay hot.
Uh-huh.
If they all have really crazy seasons, yeah, the Astros fans are probably going to be feeling that one.
Imagine if they
It's
just all played on the same team.
I know.
Somebody pointed that out to me, and I thought I got to use this for weekly review because this will you'll get a chuckle out of this, right?
Yeah, I know.
You'll
It'd
look
be
and go,
crazy.
oh
It'd almost be as crazy as, having like Freddie Freeman and Dansby Swanson and Max Fried on the same team too.
yeah. I mean, or how
Crazy.
about having like Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman and Shohei Ohtani and Will Smith and Casper Hernandez all on the same team? That'd be
But they
crazy.
still have it. But they still have them.
Oh well, wait. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's right.
It's
That's
not
right.
it's not that crazy. They still got them.
Still have them. Okay, before we get into honorable mentions and before we try to put Jackson on the spot with stats, because that was so much fun last week, we're gonna once again 27 ounce club, $27 a month, $5 discount every month. You get access to early teams. You get access, early access. You get access guaranteed to your team. Once that team is sold in the 27 ounce club, it's sold, it's gone, it's done. So yes, yes, yes. I'm excited to have that announcement. There's going to be some more announcements that will be coming up with Top Fan Rivalry. But for right now, we are focused in on the 27 ounce club. So, Jackson, with our last 10 or 12 minutes that we got, do you have any honorable mentions today?
I have a couple.
Okay.
This is a bit of a tragedy. The ceiling collapsing in the Dominican Republic, killing many people. Among them, a couple of former MLB players. I want to give a special shout out to Octavio Dotel, who died in the accident. The Immaculate Grid legend himself. He played for 13 different ball clubs, including a team I root for, the Atlanta Braves.
Mhm.
So I just wanted to highlight, his passing because he was a notable player, as a kid growing up. I heard Octavio Dotel's name a lot. Again, he played for 13 different teams. He was
Yeah.
that guy. He's like, what team is he on now? Great pitcher. He will be missed. But yeah, that's my honorable mention for the week. But
Yeah.
rest in peace, Immaculate Grid legend.
Yeah, that one's hard to top. I feel like if I talk about any more baseball, I mean,
Uh,
that's yeah. Yes, rest in peace, guys. The other thing that I was just going to mention as an honorable mention is the West has become wild. Dodgers are 10-4. Padres are 10-3. Giants are 9-3. All of a sudden, it just got wild in the West. It
and
just
Arizona's right there behind him too, aren't they?
7-6.
Yeah,
They got a little ways to go, but yeah. And Colorado and the White Sox are trying to battle themselves out for who gets bragging rights for the most losses. Um, yeah, Wild Wild West right there. Okay, Jackson, let's play Stump the Top 10 Stats
oh
guy
boy.
again.
All
Okay,
right.
I'm gonna pull this thing up. I'm gonna pull this thing up real. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. All right, here we go. All right, can you tell me of all the active players, can you tell me how many of them are in the top 100 of hits all time of the active
Ac-
players?
Active players top 100 hits of all time. I'm going to say three.
Yeah, that's a good guess. You would be wrong. The answer
All
is
right.
zero.
Zero. Oh,
The answer is zero. Buddy Bell had he's number 100 and he has 2,514.
2,514 is the bottom there. Oh, okay. So,
Yeah. So the most active hits leader right now is Freddie Freeman at 2270.
yeah, I was going to say Freeman's creeping up there.
So of the active players, how many of them currently do you think have a shot for 3,000 hits?
I mean, Freeman's probably the best shot, honestly. But
Okay.
I don't know how much longer his body's going to hold up.
He keeps slipping in the shower, it won't be good, right?
Yeah, yeah. If that ankle doesn't heal right, it's not looking good. It's just a lot of pain. I don't think anyone's got a shot. Truth be told, I think 3,000 hits is incredibly difficult.
Okay. Okay. I will raise you. I will raise you two names. Actually three names. Marcus Lynn with 1,628. Marcus Lynn Betts, aka Mookie.
My
With
so
six,
my issue with Mookie is he's already 30.
okay, he's
Yeah,
32.
yeah, 30. Yeah. So once you get on the other side of 30 and you're not over, 2,000 hits, it gets a little dicey.
I'm telling you that this is a very I'm not saying you this is going to happen, but Marcus
Is it?
Lynn, I think Bryce Harper has an outside shot at 1682, although he's 32 years old as well.
Yeah.
Uh, I do think that Freddie Freeman, if his body holds up, get there. He is under contract another 3 seasons after this season with the Dodgers, and he currently has 2,270 hits. So he needs, in essence, 730 hits over effectively 4 seasons. Um, Not impossible to get there. Uh, I have been saying this for years that I think Freddie Freeman, his contract is over at age, I think 38, he'll be. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if he signs another 2-year deal and just plays to get to that level. The only other person I think is 750 hits away, and that's Jose Altuve.
Yeah. You want to talk about guys on the on the other side of 30.
Yeah, but I mean he's 35, but remember he just signed that contract with the Astros, so he's actually got this season and 4 more seasons left. So even if he hits 150 hits, which mind you, right now this season he has Jackson 18 hits.